Hey, welcome to the. I'm just gonna unplug the background. You guys can see reality here as it sits. This is annoying. I don't like the blurred background. There we go. All right, nothing to hide here. So welcome to the August but end of July version of the Northern Strength month collective monthly momentum call. Um, I'm gonna jump right into it today. I'm gonna do some shout outs. Like I'm just shouting at anybody who's done their workouts last month. That's very vague, but summer gets nuts. So any of you guys sticking with it, I don't care if you've done one, if you've done 12, and I like to see, I make three. Like to see you guys doing three. That's um that's a reality that's like it's hard to do three some weeks. My personal cadence, I have a program that gives me five. I've done four more often than not. So, getting one to two less done than what's on the calendar is a pretty normal place to be existing in summer. We're traveling, you're out of town, you got just different things on the calendar. It's hard. So just really proud of you guys for getting any of that stuff done. I'm going to spend a little shorter today to spend a little bit of time with how to meal plan. We don't usually talk a lot about nutrition in the collective, and I'm not more so that I don't want to advertise that as a service that's offered in the collective. However, I'm just gonna give you guys a template of how we've thought about meal planning in our household, um, and try to be pretty compact with that as far as our time goes here. So from like this is the way we do it. There's a million ways to do it. And we have AI now, which is like if you guys are using any AI tools or maybe you hate AI, so forget about it. If you have AI tools, you can have that ready meal plan for you if you want to, as long as you kind of know what inputs to give it and stuff. But um, before we even go to the two things I want you like that you can probably do that are easier than you believe are one, like look at your calendar ahead. So let's assume you're eating a number of your meals like at your at your home. You're making food. I'm speaking specifically about dinner. I'm not talking about lunch. I'm not talking about breakfast. Really, when people think meal plan, they probably think majority of them that is dinner, maybe some lunch, but maybe you're a person who uses breakfast too. This framework would still work. I just am really going to focus on dinners. That's what I'm talking about. Fill in that gap with lunch and breakfast if you want to. So the way we've done this, when it's worked well for us, and right now we're in a bit of a rut. I'm gonna be honest, we're not crushing this. We're eating good meals. We're just really not planning them out that far. It's kind of every week kind of keeps happening. So what we're doing, what you do is you take it's you need to have a copy of your calendar. So whether that's your Google Calendar or your tablet thing in your kitchen or your paper one, just something that knows, hey, what nights of the week are we home and which ones are we gone? Start with that. Know what, like, are we home this night? Or are we gone? Or like, what time are we home? Or are we going to go leave the house at 5 o'clock for a kids thing? Or we're going to go leave, or we're going to go out at 7 o'clock for a family thing, whatever it is. Just like, no, so okay, 7 o'clock, you're probably going to eat dinner at home. 5 o'clock, kids thing, one person's taking the kids there, or you're going to go out to eat the night. Said, just know your calendar. Okay. You need to have that in front of you so you know how many meals are you cooking in a week. Um, And I'm going to tell you the system we use. So we are a leftover friendly household, meaning we like leftovers. We like to make food in large quantities so that when we make that food, um, like we don't have to cook again the next night, or we can have that food for lunch the next day, or two of the next few days of lunches, or a lunch the next day and a dinner the next night, or something like that. We tend to make more than we need for a given meal so that we can uh, have it again with most things. So that's one step. Look at your calendar. And as you look at that, you're going to be realizing, okay, I need to have dinner at home this many nights a week. Or maybe it's all seven, but like I'll have time. You need to have dinner at home. Let's just say you have 7 nights you need to have dinner at home during a week. Pretty normal. Maybe you go out once a week for dinner. Maybe not even. Um, but are there nights where cook now say are there nights where cooking it would be really hard? There's one parent home, there's or one person home. That's not the person who cooks them most of the time, or it's one person, or it's like one parent's home, but they're watching with kids, so it'd be hard to cook at the same time. You look at your calendar, see those things, and say, well, that would be really nice if I didn't have to cook that night, but the night before I could cook, or something like that. That's where you start to like look at something. That's what we do. We'll say, hey, for instance, for us, Monday is a night we go to our small group at our church. We don't usually want to be cooking and eating and then leaving for that the same night. We want to already be cooking something on Sunday that's like ready to reheat on Monday night. So that's using that framework with you and say, how many nights do I actually have to cook? How many nights do I have the option to cook an at-home meal? Let's just say I went from 7 nights down to 4. Great. Now you're making progress. See, that means that week you have to admit you have the option of 4 different meals. Now, this is where people get very this is where like everyone wants help is like what meals do I cook? Um I'm gonna not be very helpful here. Get a piece of paper out and write down the first 4 meals that come to mind that you like right now in the summer. Because the point of this is not that you nail it with the perfect, most healthy meal, or go on Google and find 4 meals, or go on AI and find 4 healthy meals, or go to Pinterest if you're still Pinterest, or go to a cookbook. Like, no, just like write down the first 4 things that pop in your head. Maybe you don't like them, but or no, well, hopefully they pop in your head. You probably kind of like them. So now take those 4 meals, put them on those 4 nights. Now that might be really rudimentary, simple, but take those 4 meals, put them on those 4 nights, or rearrange them, saying like, let's just say it's we love, and we'll have them very probably once a week. Also, just beef or ground meat tacos, just taco seasoning, ground meat, and some water. And then whether that's with a salad, it's with tortillas, it's with chips, it's with something else, it's with sweet potatoes in bowls. Like you can do a lot of different ways of that. So now start looking at your prep time. If you already made these meals, so these are the first 4 that came into your mind. And maybe you got to pull up, like I said, maybe you got to pull up a little bit of a saved recipe tabs you have on your browser, or maybe you got to go to Pinterest and you got to go to like a cookbook you have or a recipe box you keep, whatever it is. So you got to go there for some ideas, but just go there now. Say which days, based on your energy level, your stress level, your availability of time, are the easiest to cook? Which ones do you need a faster meal prepared? Which ones do you spend a little more time on? And you'd be willing to. So look at the time it takes, not the estimated time on the food blog, because that's always wrong. It's way too fast. Because you're gonna take if you're like me, you're gonna take 1.3 to 1.5 times that amount of time to cook the meals until you're really good at it. Because you're like, where's that ingredient? I forgot that thing. Okay. So then uh allocate those 4 recipes you made to those 4 nights according to which ones you most like to cook those days, or one person in your house, whoever. Maybe one person does all the cooking in your household and doesn't, or maybe one person does most of it. Someone can kind of help, or maybe you guys both do it. And then think about who can do it that day and what kind of bandwidth do they have. Do they work until 5? They come home and need to start dinner. They don't want to do that much. They want just a simple prep. Okay, that'd be better to do that simple prep. Or it's like, hey, a weekend one can be a little more elaborate because you could get some of the kids helping with some of the prep during the afternoon or something beforehand, or whatever it is. Um, put those now rearrange it according to like the time you have. Okay, so that's simple, right? Now you're planned. Well, we're not planned because we need to take the now we need to look at those. Now we need to think about what those recipes are. Those first 4 things came to mind, and now say, do they actually fit like ingredients we commonly have in our house? Are they ingredients we need to like, you have 3 different varieties of hot peppers for something, and you don't have any of those in your house, which who would regularly? You have to go buy those at specific grocery stores. Is that a meal you want to have? Or maybe that one might get swapped out. So make a list of, maybe your list is 5 to 6 meals, and you can kind of plug and play some of those. Um, so that would be now start to look at the ingredient lists. There are tools. By the way, if you want to feed all 4 of these recipes that you picked, if you have links in them, if you have even name. You can feed them if you are an AI user. You can feed them into an AI platform and say, "Hey, you're a meal planner. Um, you you can give them the task of putting these four meals on these nights of the week. Can you make the ingredient lists of all four of them right now?" You just give them names sometimes, it might be able to jog enough information. There's your grocery list. Or let's assume it's usually some spices, some vegetables, a protein, a starch. Look around your pantry, look around your fridge and freezer and your spice area, spice drawer, spice rack, cabinets to see do you have the things there or not. Um, like likelihood is you're one of two cases. You are either a person who is always kind of stocks and keeps similar things, or you almost have nothing in your house, and you also need a bunch of things, and you also have nothing again. That's a pseudo cycle, and those are both okay. Both work just fine. This planning phase that I'm describing, the way we have it is we will have a lot of common items we just always have, and we're using for multiple meals. So it's like we always have potatoes, and we always have rice, and we always have a couple different proteins on hand, and we always have we just go through gobs of frozen bags of broccoli. So broccoli is like always in there, and we have all sorts of different fruits as well. So like these things are always there. We have spices. We buy them in bulk, so we don't have to like go buy spices that often. That's really nice. It's like we have lots of spices as well. So, um, anyways, that's the way. So then you have to compare against what's in your house. That's not a shopping list. This is not a like I should say this. This is like not meal planning in 30 minutes or less. It might be. You might be able to do this in 30 minutes or less. You might be able to take the four meals you have, your calendar from calendar to four meals to what nights a week they fall onto um, grocery list. You might be able to do that in 20 minutes. It might be really fast. We talked about it in 15 here, but it might take a little time the first time you do it. Don't expect the time you do this of any sort of plan to be like just seamless, easy, no problem. Um, it's going to take a little time. I would suggest when you look through those ingredient lists and you add them to your shopping list, however you do that, make sure you're going to get more than you need. So you can either make these recipes at a 2 times scale so you can have them again, or you just have a little more on hand for the future. We double almost every recipe we make now. We have little kids. They eat a lot of they're thankfully are not extremely picky eaters and they eat everything we make for ourselves. There's a few things they don't touch in there, but most of what we eat they like. And so we just everything's a double batch. It's always this or triple batch. So then make sure you're buying the quantity, this many pounds of chicken breast, this many bags, this many ounces of this thing. Add that stuff in there so you know how much to go shop when you go there. Um, so now you got your week schedule, your meals filled in that week, and your grocery list made. You have everything you need to now go shop and implement this. There's every option now to do this same process for another week right now versus at the end of the next week. Like, is there a week you're like doing more than a week at a time can be really helpful? Know that you're not locking yourself in by doing this. You could, it's very possible you change your mind that the one you plan for Tuesday is not going to work that Tuesday. You need to pull the one from Thursday over to Tuesday and put the Tuesday one on Thursday. So what? You just lived real life. You made a decision that you had to make it, you had to change a decision about your meals that you decided on Sunday or Saturday or something or a week before because that just wasn't what fit the bill that next week. Well, at least you had a plan versus saying, I don't know, we got this in the fridge and that, and that's all we got. We got to go store quick. And like, no, you already went shopping. So like that's the next stage, like actually choose when and where you're going to go shopping, or have groceries delivered, or do Target pickup or Walmart pickup or Target delivery or whatever the thing you're using to get your groceries is. Pick the day you're going to do that and go and shop and bring it home or order and unpack and unload in the house. And that takes time. Uh, the benefit of doing this for longer chunks of time, planning for 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks at a time, if you can get to that point, is that like you can buy more food or you can see an item on sale. I need that in 2 weeks. I'm gonna grab that now if it's on sale, and then I'm gonna like just store it, freeze it, whatever, tell you, there'll be things you just always need to get, week of too. That I don't think this eliminates a weekly shopping trip or something if you have one or weekly delivery if you're getting that. But um, or one of those quick runs to a store, you only need to buy like three items and that's it, but you had to still go. Those will still be there. Because something will go wrong or just something changes and that's real life. But it does help them to be like you go to some stores less often or capitalize on some sales with a bulk purchase that can be really helpful as well. So, okay, recap here. We went from calendar first, looking at your calendar, knowing what nights you have the option to cook, which nights would be a lot easier if you didn't have to cook. That's the way we look at it. I'm not saying how you look at it. I'm telling you how we look at it. You might look at it differently, but you're probably looking at your calendar. You're probably looking at like similar question. When can you cook? And maybe it's 7 nights a week you want to cook. Go ahead. That's fine. 6 nights and one night out, or 5 nights and 2 nights out. Whatever you want to do. Cook every single time you go in there, something fresh. That's how you eat. You can't do the same meal twice. Have at it. That does make the leftover lunch next day a little more complicated, but that's there's so many ways to do this. This is the way we do it. It's not the guaranteed method for every single person. It's the way we do it. So you went from calendar, chose your nights to cook, chose your 4 meals to put on there in a week. Not right now, buddy. I'll be out in 2 minutes, okay? Okay, okay. Are you going for a nap? Yeah, hug. I'm on a call. Say hi. All right. Okay, give me a hug. All right. I gotta go. Okay. I'm going back to my call.
What are you calling?
It's a recorded call
What is that?
for clients in my group. Okay. All right. So you went from like the calendar to filling in with 4 meals to then putting actually like choosing the four, putting on the nights of the week that they best fit, making the ingredient list, choosing your day to go shopping, going shopping, putting things away. Now it's all there. The secret sauce now is to when that day comes to be preparing for it. So whether that's some mornings, some days, some nights, like we'll prep a few things for the day before we go to bed, or like with dinner, or like at a 15-minute gap we have somewhere in our schedule. We're like, okay, can one of us measure out the spices for this meal like the day before? Because they're gonna all go in the crock pot or something. They're all gonna mix it with the meat tomorrow. Like we'll always have the spices already in a bowl, seal it up. That's already set on the counter. You can just dump all that in when you do the next day. That's super helpful. They just kind of, or we'll chop something up, or we'll ask, or we'll like, let's say you chose 2 meals to have diced sweet potatoes. Cool. Like you could, the first day you make them, unless they're seasoned drastically differently, you could dice a bunch of sweet potatoes one day. Maybe you could even cook them all. And they go with the next meal 2 days later, and then bang, bang, you had one of the meals you spent more time cutting, but you had the next meal's starch already made, or you froze them and you put them in there and season them a little differently or something. There's a lot of options there. If you're okay with a little reheating or a little refrigeration briefly as well. Um, or like two of them have rice in them. So you just made a huge pot of rice the first, Monday, and then saved the rice till Thursday. You made the next meal that also had rice. Great. You didn't make rice twice. There's ways to like do little things like that where you save yourself a little time. So also putting these meals on a calendar, writing them down somewhere on a calendar, putting it on the fridge, or putting on your Google Calendar if you're like if you're a Google Calendar person, or putting on your family calendar tablet thing in your kitchen if you have one of those things. I don't know what they're called. I don't know if you'll have them. We don't have one. However you write it down, wherever you will see it, whatever is easiest for you to remember it, and then and stick with it. That's the secret sauce there, is sticking with it. And the reason I said pick four you already know, pick four you're familiar with, pick four things you know you can cook, is like just start. That reduces the level of complexity drastically. If you think you have to find four brand new meals that are like really healthy, says the internet, or says what you know to be healthy, and then you're gonna cook all four of those brand new things in the same week, guarantee by time one, like two or three, you're like, I just want to cook tacos. Like just cook something you already know that you already know how to that is healthy-ish or healthy enough or really healthy, but you already know how to cook it. And then you're just repeating the process. And then you can add in sometimes. You can add in a new recipe. Hey, we're cooking 5 times a week. I'm gonna add in one of those nights on a night you have time to do it, in theory, until that day happens, maybe it changes. That's the day you choose to do the new thing that like you're gonna be kind of looking at the recipe. Just go a little slower if you're prepping it all, and you might miss a step here or there, and that's okay. Like choose like to add the new thing on the day that makes the most sense to add the new thing, not on Monday at 5:30 p.m. when you got to be at the door at 6:15 for something. Like this is not the time to start cooking something brand new. Just cook something you already know how to do that gets the job done quickly. Feeds the mouths you have to feed, whether that's two of you or it's eight of you or four of you or five of you or however many kids you have or how big your household is. So that is kind of rapid meal planning. How would you do it? That's how we do it when we've done it. Right now, we're in a bit of a like Sunday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday happens. We kind of just dialogue about the next week and don't really plan beyond that. I think we'll get back to this rhythm of like having a 2 to 4 weeks planned at a time, but right now we're not in that. Um, and summer is part of the reason why my wife started a job and she did all that work beforehand. And this new job is more demanding, mentally, cognitively. So like the brain space to do the planning, this just isn't something that's been there as much. And so we've been talking more how to do it together, and um, we can help each other out in that. So that's it. I'm sure there's things I missed. That's not a foolproof system. That's the system we use. And if you don't use that system, maybe some of those questions of like looking at your week ahead and thinking about it are things you just forget to do sometimes until the week happens. If you spent 10 minutes on Sunday kind of thinking like, what days do I want to cook this week even? That'd be progress. Um, or like, what's one thing I want to make this week? Cool, I'm gonna put on Thursday night. Just that's still progress in that direction. You just did a fraction of the same process we talked about. So there's a lot of ways to move this forward. And I'm not even talking about what needs to be in the meal yet, but I'm gonna not because of the nature of the collective and not being a highly nutrition forward program for clients. It's just that like let's start with what just getting the habit of cooking more established or the rhythm of how to do it well in a week established first, and then we can say, hey, what kind of recipes should be, what things should be in the recipes. And we often put the cart ahead of the horse and trying to find the right framework and system in which to do it is the most important thing. And then you can start saying, well, I like to make this salad, or I like to make this type of spaghetti, or I like to make this type of meal, like, or whatever, this recipe, I want to make a Greek meal this night. And then you are to just plop that onto Thursday because you already know your framework and you already know what groceries you have in the house. And like that becomes easier because of the pre-existing time you've spent. So like I said, the outline of what is described will probably take, if you're crazy fast, you can meal plan for your week in 20 minutes, maybe a little less. But if you're a little bit like this kind of methodical, taking a little time, probably looking at 30 to 45 minutes just chatting through this, maybe with your spouse. Maybe your spouse has no input besides just feed me and that's it. Then that's fine too. So yeah, but yes, there's a couple ways to get at this. This is the way we do it. It might not be the way you do it, but that's the way we do it. And they said even some of those questions are like, what step do you get stuck at between wanting to do this and ideating on it to like actually following through on it? And how can you make this something you look forward to and do in a given week? Like you can hear somebody saying, hey, we had this really good meal the other night. Send me the recipe and I'd like to add it to my like meal plan this week or next week or this month. So that's what that's where I'll stop there. There's a new app my wife and I are gonna mess around with soon called Paprika, which is like search your recipes, makes your grocery list, and you can drag and drop them different days. I've heard it's good things about it. I think it can also make the recipes for you sometimes too. If you say you have like 10 ingredients in your house, what can it make? It can formulate some of those as well. It can find, has databases like crazy it can access. I haven't played with it yet to guarantee and recommend it, but that's something I've heard about. That's really cool. So um, it does cost a small amount of money, like $5 for your phone or $30 for your computer, but then it's one time. So it's not a subscription. So all right, I'm gonna stop there. Happy Tuesday, guys. Thanks for meeting. Thanks for talking meal planning. And if you can't do this this summer, start doing the fall. Just survive the rest of summer. But I hope this is helpful as you guys think about how to eat the food you want to eat, the things you enjoy eating. Those four recipes should be ones you like, so they're easier to. And totally, it's okay if one of them or more or whatever is like pizza and mac and cheese or chicken nuggets and mac and cheese, or whatever like your kids or family like to eat. It's okay if one of them is that because that's just okay. You have to do that sometimes, or so that's still a little less prep involved in that for sure. But yes, hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and we'll talk again at the end of the month or the end of the next one.